Okay, so you're going to have your panel, and the first thing you're going to want to do is cut them all into individual pieces, making sure you leave a minimum of 1/4 of an inch all the way around the edge. So now we have that trimmed with all of our pieces, edges having a 1/4 inch seam allowance on it. Then the next thing we're going to do is get our backing. Again, this November kit has the wording back. I need to give this a little press. Actually, I think what I'll do, let's get that lined up. I am going to go ahead and press it. This is a fusible fleece. It has a one-sided fusible fleece, so that means it's only fusible on one side. So we're going to go ahead and press that. You want to be careful if you have any fleece sticking out. Don't get your iron on that part or you'll have a messy iron. Help me move this back out of the way. Okay, now we're going to use our front piece as the template for the size we need to cut our back piece. Since we already have this trimmed, we're going to put this on right sides together, making sure that I have batting under all the edges. And then we're just going to go back and trim this again. One last side here. There we have it. Now we're ready to pin this or use some Wonder Clips and head over to the machine. Okay, now we're ready to pin it or use Wonder Clips. I'm going to show you both ways. I tend to pin from the outside, and another important thing to remember is to leave an opening for turning. So we would actually sew up to this pin, then leave this open, backstitch here, and then sew the rest of the way around. So the way I would actually start is sew starting right here, backstitch, sew all the way around, and stop right there with another backstitch. I tend to be a clipper rather than a pinner, so I would just go through and do a handful of these just to keep everything stable while it moves back and forth to my machine, and everything stays pretty much in place. One more, and there we go. So this is ready to take over to the machine, and we'll head that way, and I'll be right back. Okay, we're at our machine now, and I have it set up to automatically tie a knot at the beginning of the end and the end. I don't know if you can see, but my pin is right here. That tells me that's my starting point. And then I'm going to go and just sew right inside this red line. And I'm using a beige thread because I feel like that's going to go best with all the different patterns in this grouping for November, but you're always able to just do matchy-matchy thread too. Here we go. So we're going to just sew all the way around. You saw it do my little back stitch there. Take your time. Make sure you're staying inside that red so the white doesn't show when we turn it right side out. I'm going to make sure I'm right in that corner. Put my needle down and go ahead and make that turn and get started right back up. I'm going to sew this all the way around, and then I will come back when I'm ready to get to that other side of the opening. Okay, we're coming up on our final corner. Just thought I would check back in, finish stitching out this corner, and come up to our other opening where we're going to get ready to turn it. Let my machine do its little tie off for me. I normally don't trim from the back of the machine, but I'm trying to give y'all a view too. Okay, so let me move the camera and I'll show you how we get ready to trim the corners and get it turned. Okay, now we're going to take our scissors and trim these corners. The way I like to do that is just cut straight across, probably about less than an 1/8 inch, and I always take out a little bit of bulk going into the corners as well. That just helps us when we turn to have less bulk there. Okay, so we're going to do that on all 4 corners. Okay, there we go. Let me clean up my mess here. Now the next thing we're going to do is take this and turn it right side out. See where we left the opening here? So let's just scrunch it all up. You still want to be gentle when you turn it, even though you backstitch those edges of the opening. I feel like I'm doing this awkwardly because I'm trying to keep it within the frame of the camera. Normally I would get it all spread out. Okay, get as much of that out, pushed out as you can, and then we'll take our point turner and do the rest of it. Okay, so the point turner I'm using today is this one. This is a Clover Hera marker, basically. Has a rounded end and a pointy end. We're going to be using the pointy end today. So I get as much of that out as I can, doing it this way. Okay, now, okay, so this is where we are for now. We've got that going just nice and flat. We have this seam here where we opened it, so we're going to want to go to the iron and press this to where it's nice and flat, and then we'll close that seam by doing a top stitch all the way around. That gives us a nice finished look. It closes our seam for us, and we'll be back to the machine in just a minute. I'm going to turn the camera. If I was professional or had a videographer, somebody would do that for me. Okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and press around some of the edges. Now when you're pressing something like this, you want to go ahead and try to flatten these seams out, because that's going to help you when you stitch. I'm going to leave that opening for the last probably. See if I can get that. I'll roll it and then roll the fabric into the seam. See if I can get it even on both sides. And that tends to work pretty good. Okay, now let's get this where we're right on the edge where that white part is, and about a 1/4 inch here. Take your time and make sure you have it the way you want it to look. And then just press that down. Take your time and get that nice and straight there. so it doesn't stand out any different from any of the rest of the placemat. Okay, I'm going to put a couple of wonder clips on this, just to keep that area closed. And then we're going to go back to the machine and do our top stitch. Okay, you're going to be able to see this start coming off the back here in just a minute, but I'm stitching this at about an 1/8 inch. So we'll make sure and catch all the fabric, especially in the area where we turned it. And I'm lucky enough that my 1/4 inch foot has an 1/8 inch groove, so I know right where to go. All done. Okay, so here we have our finished placemat. Fall is my favorite color, and as you can see, the beige thread doesn't stand out too much. It's just a nice highlight, and it's all done. And here's the back, nice and flat. Now, if you wanted to, you could go through and quilt this however you liked. You could put a cross grid pattern on it. You could do straight up and down lines, sideways lines, however you wanted to do it. But I'll probably just leave mine just like this. So thanks for watching.